Have you ever stopped to think that the biggest structures in your life, the ones that guide your career or even just how close you stand to someone in an elevator, are basically invisible?
They really are.
We think we're making all these conscious choices, but how much of that is really being dictated by, time and space?
And that is exactly what we're getting into for this deep dive.
Yeah.
We're trying to peel back the curtain on those hidden architectures.
Okay.
We've pulled together material from, the giants of classical sociology like Durkheim, all the way through to Einsteinian relativity.
Relativity and sociology.
Yeah, how it applies to social thought. And then we'll get into modern proxemics and communication accommodation theory. The mission here is to give you a synthesis of how time and space structures society, and then zoom right into the micro-level stuff that governs every single interaction you have.
That's a huge scope. So we're going from this big philosophical question, like what is social time, all the way down to the unspoken rules of, say, a tense negotiation.
Exactly. We'll start big with those foundational thinkers, see how their ideas were challenged, and then dive into that silent language of nonverbal cues.
To show how it all shapes your daily reality. Okay, let's unpack this. So where do we start? How did the foundational thinkers see time and space?
Well, the essential starting point is really Emil Durkheim. For him, time and space weren't just these neutral containers for life.
Okay.
They were actively structured by society. Social facts, so, rules, norms, shared rhythms, they were universal for everyone in that society. They spanned a single homogeneous social space.
Homogeneous, so like a stable universal grid for everyone. Durkheim was basically saying society has one clock and we all have to sync our watches to it.
That's a perfect way to put it. These social facts exist, and this is a quote, outside of and above individual and local contingencies. The idea is that the rhythm of society, like the work week or holidays, forces the individual's life rhythm to match it perfectly.
But that sounds a little too mechanical. This idea that everyone's personal experience of time has to sync up with this big societal clock, it just feels problematic. Where does social change or, cultural shifts come from?
It does. And that rigidity is exactly where the critique starts. If everything is so stable and homogeneous, how does anything ever change? That weakness led modern theorists to abandon that single grid and look towards something more multidimensional.
And this is where they started borrowing ideas from physics.
This is exactly where the sociological version of relativity comes in. Thinkers like Latour started looking at Einstein's work and saying, what if social laws behave in a similar way?
How so?
They pushed us to question the assumption that social laws are just universal and unchanging everywhere. The insight was that maybe a social law contracts or expands depending on the context you're in.
So a rule that's absolute in, say, a government office, it might barely even exist in a tech startup. It makes universality relative to the space you're in, not absolute everywhere.
Precisely. And this shift replaces that idea of one big, all-encompassing society with multidimensional social spaces or fields. This is where Pierre Bourdieu's work is just central.
Fields.
He called them relatively autonomous spheres of play. So the rules of the economic field are just totally different from the rules of the academic field.
To navigate those fields, you need the right habitus.
That's the critical piece. Habitus is a kind of practical bodily knowledge. It's an instinct for your position in a familiar field. It's the unwritten rulebook.
Which is why walking into a totally new industry feels so alien at first. You just don't have the habitus for it.
You don't. And this deep dive is about giving you that theoretical rulebook so you can decode the field faster.
Okay, so let's bring this down from the abstract to the individual. How do we relate to our own life story? I think the term is biographical space-time constitutions.
Yes, and researchers have found three main types. Understanding them can explain a lot about, career anxiety or fulfillment. The first is the concentric linear type.
Concentric linear.
These people tell a story of self-development. Their past shapes their present. Their present is a clear step toward a planned future.
This sounds like Natalie from the research, the one planning her career 2 years out. They have a stable home base, and their life is kind of centered around it.
They value that structure.
Right.
Now, you contrast that with the networked episodic type. Their life is more like a string of largely unconnected bubbles of the present.
So they're not bound by the past. They're more agile, geographically mobile. They pick a city or a scene based on the atmosphere, not to settle down.
Exactly. And this type seems to be, highly advantageous in the modern labor market that demands all that flexibility. But here's the tension.
What's that?
What happens when a concentric linear person who needs that stable narrative is forced by the economy into a networked episodic life of constant moves.
That would create a huge amount of anxiety, burnout even. Their whole way of being is being challenged.
It is. It really gives weight to the theory.
So what's the third type?
That would be the insular cyclical type. They don't really narrate a history of change. Instead, they tell stories where the quality of the past is made present again. They see themselves as remaining identical over time, which creates a sort of endless present.
They're outside that whole narrative of progress.
Completely. Their life spaces are like these little understandable islands, maintained by strong but limited social ties. The example was Enrico, who avoids mobile phones because he doesn't like being called all the time. He's building a boundary to maintain that internal cyclical reality.
It's just fascinating how our own relationship with time defines so much, even how we communicate. Okay, let's make that transition now from the macro structures and habitus down to the micro level, the powerful, unconscious rules of communication.
Nonverbal communication is the perfect bridge. I mean, gestures, tone, posture, timing. They're so fluid and complex, they're the immediate, silent proof of the rules we were just talking about.
The power of this silent language is just immense, especially when you get a mixed message. If I say one thing but my body language says another, which one do people trust?
This is what's known as the contradiction rule. And the research is so clear on this. When verbal and nonverbal messages contradict, receivers will always place greater value on the nonverbal cue.
Always.
It's seen as the more accurate message. If you ask a colleague if they're ready for a deadline and they say yes, but they won't make eye contact and they're fidgeting, you believe the fidgeting. You read it as emotional leakage.
And this silent communication, it isn't just random, right? It plays specific roles. I think there are 5.
5 specific, reliable roles. They're crucial for decoding what's really going on. First, you have repetition.
Okay.
So your nonverbal cue strengthens your verbal one. Shaking your head yes while you're saying yes.
Simple enough. What's next?
Second is contradiction, the example we just used, which can indicate dishonesty or just mixed feelings. Third is substitution, where a nonverbal cue replaces words entirely. A facial expression that just screams, "I'm furious," without you having to say a thing.
Got it. That's 3.
Fourth is compliment. This adds new ones. Like a manager giving praise, but also adding a sincere pat on the back. It increases the emotional weight. And finally, accenting.
Accenting.
Underlining the importance of a message. It could be a vocal emphasis or, pounding the table for effect.
So let's break down the actual channels. Let's start with kinesics, so body movement.
Right, kinesics. This includes things like emblems, which are gestures with a direct verbal meaning in a culture, like the OK sign. But you have to be careful, they are almost all culturally specific.
And what about just natural hand movements?
Those are called illustrators, the movements that naturally accompany your speech and emphasize a point.
Okay, moving on to oculesics, or eye contact. This feels like another high-stakes area, especially across cultures.
Oh, absolutely. Our cultural norms dictate exactly how we manage our gaze. In the U.S., for instance, we tend to shift our eye contact when we're speaking, but we make more sustained eye contact when we're listening.
And that sustained gaze is a really important social cue.
It is. It signals turn-taking, it establishes rapport, but in many East Asian cultures, that same direct eye contact, especially with a superior, can be seen as really confrontational.
And finally, vocalics, the way we say things.
Paralanguage, pitch, volume, rate, tone. The research here consistently shows that verbal fluency, just speaking smoothly, is a massive predictor of persuasiveness.
And on the flip side, those verbal fillers, the ums and
they can really erode your credibility, especially in a professional setting.
Yeah.
And monotony, a flat vocal tone, just kills listener engagement.
So now we get to space itself, the physical dimension, proxemics.
Edward T. Hall's pioneering work. It confirms that the amount of physical space we keep between ourselves and others is a powerful nonverbal message. By about age 8, we've established this proxemic bubble around ourselves.
And violating that bubble when it's not welcome is just inherently unsettling. Paul gave us 4 standard zones, right, based on U.S. norms.
He did. They're clear behavioral markers. Intimate space is under 18 inches, reserved for a partner, a child.
Right.
Then personal space, that's about 1.5 to 4 feet. For friends, close acquaintances. Social distance, from 4 to 12 feet, is the most common one for business settings or with strangers.
And the last one?
Public distance, anything over 12 feet, used for formal speeches and things like that.
But the space itself, the architecture of our offices and homes, it's constantly trying to manipulate these zones?
Constantly. The built environment is a powerful communicator. This is the difference between a sociopedal space and a sociofugal space.
Okay, what do those mean?
Sociopedal space encourages interaction. Think of chairs clustered around a low table in a coffee shop. A sociofugal space discourages it, like rows of chairs all facing a screen.
And if you violate a sociofugal space, like sitting right next to the only other person in a huge empty library, it creates this palpable discomfort.
Because you broke the unspoken rule. And we see the real-world impact of this in organizational studies. In research buildings, they found a 100-foot increase in what they call path overlap.
So just the number of times people accidentally cross paths?
Yes, that was associated with a 15% to 30% increase in research collaboration.
That is critical data. It means those water cooler moments aren't accidental at all. They're designed by the architecture. For anyone navigating hybrid work, this means the key isn't just how often you're in the office, but how that office is designed to maximize those chance encounters.
The physical design determines the social outcome. And culture, of course, deeply affects how we view not just public, but private space.
The differences in home design are a great example.
Take the kitchen. In the US, it's common for guests to hang out in the kitchen, maybe even get a tour of the master bedroom. But in Germany or Japan, guests are much more likely to only see the main entertaining rooms. The kitchen is functional, not social.
This cultural difference is just as sharp when we talk about time, which is called chronemics.
Chronemics, right? It's how cultures relate to time. You have monochronic or M-time cultures like the US and Germany. They treat time like a commodity. It's linear, schedules are everything, and you do one thing at a time.
And being late causes real anxiety.
It does. Then you have polychronic or P-time cultures. Here, time is much more fluid. Personal relationships are the priority, not the schedule. An 8 p.m. barbecue might not really get going until 9 or later. But of course, context matters. Japanese business is very M-time, but their social time can be more P-time.
That's a key distinction. Okay, let's take all this space-time and apply it to how groups actually work. The invisible structures of group dynamics.
Right. When people form a group, they create a shared field with its own unspoken rules. At the core of the group structure, this includes roles, task roles versus relationship roles, and norms, which are the informal rules that just emerge over time.
And then there's cohesion, that social glue. It's vital, but you have to get the balance right.
You do. There's task cohesion, which is the commitment to the group's goal, and social cohesion, which is just how much the members like each other. You need both. But if you have too much social cohesion without enough task focus, performance can actually drop.
Because they don't want to challenge each other's ideas.
Exactly. And within these groups, the pressure to conform can become intense.
How does that pressure work?
Well, it can be internal, so feeling guilt if you deviate, or it can be external, enforced through policies, rewards, or in extreme cases, things like hazing, which gets rationalized as a way to build group identity.
Groups also have predictable types of conflict, and it seems like leaders need to know which to encourage and which to shut down.
Absolutely. The three main types are procedural conflict, so arguing over how to do things, and interpersonal conflict, which is just personal clashes. Both those are usually damaging.
And the third type?
The one to encourage is substantive conflict. This is disagreement over what the group's goal or purpose should be.
So, debating the actual ideas, not the process or the personalities.
Right. That kind of debate is vital for quality. It challenges assumptions, and it's the best defense against groupthink.
On the other hand, one of the biggest performance killers is social loafing.
Yes. The phenomenon where individual performance goes down as the group size goes up, especially in groups bigger than 10. It's not just laziness. It's the perception that your individual effort won't really matter for the outcome.
So how do you fight it?
You have to make individual contributions visible. Clearly define each person's task and have a way to evaluate it. Accountability is the antidote to loafing.
This whole drive to either fit in with a group or, stand apart from it seems to be captured by communication accommodation theory, or CT.
CT is a perfect summary of this. It explains when, why, and how we adjust our speech style, our accent, our words, even nonverbals, to our listeners. And there are two main ways we do it: convergence and divergence.
Convergence sounds like trying to fit in.
It is. You shift your speech patterns to be more like your partners. It's often triggered by attraction or just a desire to be understood. Divergence is the opposite. You intentionally shift your patterns away from them.
which is a powerful defense mechanism.
But very powerful. A classic study showed this with Welsh speakers. When an arrogant English speaker challenged their heritage, they diverged by making their Welsh accents much stronger.
They were asserting their identity.
Exactly. Yeah. We also see this between generations and genders. Older generations might accommodate Gen Z by texting, but Gen Z often prefers face-to-face with leadership. And research shows women tend to accommodate more than men, while men are more likely to use interruptions to control a conversation.
So at the end of the day, this entire deep dive from Durkheim's linear time all the way down to our own personal proxemic bubble.
It confirms one central theme. Human interaction is an embodied experience. Our successes, our conflicts, they aren't just rooted in what we say, but in how we unconsciously navigate social space, time, and all those silent signals.
We're constantly negotiating these hidden architectures, which brings up a really interesting modern problem. We saw how critical physical proximity is, that distance decay effect, where collaboration just plummets after 25 or 50 meters. Physical space matters.
It absolutely matters. But if we move into the digital world, where that physical distance seems to just vanish, does our deeply embedded need for proxemic space just go away?
And the evidence says no. I mean, studies in virtual worlds like Second Life showed people's avatars still follow physical norms. They keep appropriate social distances.
And even screen size in a virtual meeting has been shown to affect emotional response, which suggests we're still reading proximity through this embodied spatial lens.
So that raises a really provocative question for you, the listener.
If technology hasn't actually eliminated our need for these spatial rules, how do we design digital teams and virtual meetings that respect this virtual proxemic bubble? Are we, in how we design our Zoom calls and our remote tools, accidentally creating sociofugal spaces that actually discourage the very collaboration we're trying so hard to create?